16 years old, started drinking. Um, Started out with just one beer, like everybody else. Same story. Never thought it would go as far as it did, but it just kept going and going. And one beer turned into two turned into six, and next thing I know, I'm waking up on the couch the next morning. and I don't know how to stop it. Time goes on, and things are just getting worse and worse and worse, and then I start to sell instead of just drink the alcohol. I'm selling to other minors, and so I've got a stash in my car. And for whatever reason, my parents decided to search. They thought something was fishy, so they decided to search my car, and they found it all. Pulled me out of bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, took me upstairs, it's all lined out on the table. And I said, that's it, I'm done. And I packed up my bags and I walked out. I took the keys to my car, so I couldn't drive anywhere. So I packed bags and just walked out. And leading up to that, it was just continuous fighting. I dreaded coming home because I knew my parents were going to be there and they're going to ask me questions, and I didn't want to talk to them. I didn't want to be around them. If they were gone somewhere and I was home just playing Xbox, watching Netflix, whatever, I hated it when they walked in the door because I didn't want to be around them. And so it wasn't hard for me to just say I'm leaving because that's what I wanted. And I called all my siblings like, I'm in a bad spot. I need a ride, I need a place to stay, I need your help. And most of them pretty much said, well, you're being an idiot, so I'm not gonna help you. Except for one. My sister, I called her and she got in touch with one of her friends, and her friend came pick me up, and I stayed at her house for 2 nights. And in the meantime, I was hanging out with my bad friends, and we were just doing the same stuff. Monday, we were just hanging out, drinking alcohol, just doing our thing. And Tuesday rolls around, my parents give me my car back. I don't know why, but they did. And so got a ride back home, quick ran to my car, got it, and drove off. And then that was a bad idea because now we had a ride, now we had a way to get places. Idle hands or the devil's workshop, and that's exactly what we had. We didn't know what to do with ourselves, and so we just did terrible things, and we vandalized people's cars, we just spray paint, whatever. It was just a bad time. And then Thursday rolls around, and I had replenished my stash of alcohol, selling to people again, and we got pulled over by the cops. And for whatever reason, they decided to search our car and found all of our bottles, took them all, and I got an MIP. And that was kind of the point where I was like, all right, I can't do this anymore. And then decided that I needed to go back home and work things out with my dad. So I called up Ben and I called up Pastor Josh, and I was like, hey guys, I need to work things out with my dad. Will you help me? And they said, yes, we will. So we set up a meeting for Thursday. And I come here to Vertical, and my dad's there, and we sit down and we just start working through it, coming back home. And at that point, I still hadn't given my life to Christ, so I wanted to come back home, but not for the right reasons. I wanted to come back home because there was food and shelter there, and I had a place to sleep. I didn't really care about working things out with my dad, but I knew that's what I had to say at the time to get what I wanted, and so I did. I quit for a month and a half, and then I went right back to it, and that's when my parents cut it off. They're like, this is it, we're done. And they started looking for other options, and that's when they found Future Men. Honestly, I don't really know why I agreed to leave, because I hadn't changed at that time. I was still me, the old me. My parents just said, hey, we're gonna send you to this place, and if you don't go, you're homeless. And I didn't really want to be homeless, so I guess you could say that was kind of why I went. And so at Future Men, I started to realize that all they ever tried to do was help me. However that looked like, that's all they were trying to do. And I just kept pushing them away. I said, I don't need you, get out of my face. But yeah, at Future Men, I started to realize that. And once I did, it was a complete 180. I just turned right around and I was like, I need to do something different. I need to do something about this. And I did. Mr. Bowman is the director there, and we have this class called Worldview, and he was teaching it this day, and he started talking about the hardening of hearts, and I'm sitting there, and I saw myself going down that path, and I did not want to reach the point to where it was too late. I did not want to die and then have God tell me, depart from me, I never knew you. Although I may say, oh Lord, I grew up knowing you, I grew up going to church, I prayed to you every now and then. Aren't I good enough? No. Like, go away. I did not want that for myself. I don't want that for anybody else either. I was laying in bed and I just prayed to God. I said, God, if there's still hope for me, like, just help me. Like, come into my heart. I want you. And he did. And after that, my life of Future Men just got so much better. Everything just went well for me. I started getting along with the really annoying people there. I started to accept advice from the mentors and the directors. I started to read my Bible, and I started seeking what God was trying to tell me. I started going to people, asking them questions, and God, I don't know why he chose me, but he pulled me out of that situation that I was in and put me in one where I was completely isolated from everything. I was away from everyone I'd ever known, away from everything I've ever been used to, and that really was what I needed, because when that happened, it only took about a month before I really started thinking about what I had been doing, and I realized that I was living in sin. And I wasn't a Christian. I wasn't who I said I was, but I wanted to be. And I spent 8 months at that boys' home. And although it wasn't necessarily the most fun thing I've ever done, it was the greatest thing I've ever done. Because it changed my life. God changed my life at Future Men. And now my parents and I are really getting along. They're helping me. And I give all the credit to God.